Arm your people with the tools to be able to have those conversations, because you don't want it to be a confrontation, you want it to be a conversation.
Please welcome to the stage Mr. Warren Tate.
Woo! Yeah. Woo!
Now, by a quick show of hands, who here loves having uncomfortable conversations? Or there's a few of you, there's always the sadistic ones, isn't there? Whereas most of you like to avoid them out of a fear of repercussions and what may happen. But COVID has changed the landscape of organisations around the planet. And research tells us that that's not over. In fact, the mental health issues associated with people within your organisations is going to be there for years to come. How can you help them? How can you have those uncomfortable but those courageous conversations to assist them? I mean, there's the issues around working from home and quiet quitting. Who's having those conversations? Who has the knowledge and the experience to be able to have those conversations today? And of course, only in the media today, on news.com today, they were talking about getting people back in the office. So we've got the hybrid scenario, but now we have certain organisations who are wanting people to go full-time back in the office. You don't think that takes some tough, courageous and uncomfortable conversations?
Good.
Yep. How can you pass those tools onto your teams? I mean, every single individual within your organisation to be in a position to be speaking up, to feel safe, to have permission. It's a powerful position to be in. Of course, there's other issues around organisations, and there's lots of conversations that we need to be having, lots of uncomfortable conversations. Also in the media, something about, sort of private information that shouldn't be passed on to people within organisations where they've got confidential information regarding businesses that has been passed on to perhaps other businesses in competition for financial gain. Or perhaps even from a legal perspective in regards to the laws changing, so therefore you get the heads up on that and you go and talk to your clients about it. Just think about people within the organisation who saw this happening. They didn't speak up. They didn't say a word. They knew it was happening. Lots of people knew it was happening. But they didn't have the safety, the permission to be able to speak up about that. That has an impact on their mental health. It has an impact on your retention levels within the organisation. And that spreads. That spreads like wildfire. Nice term. We've got the fire in there as well. We've got that in. But it spreads. What are we doing to rectify that situation, to give our teams and our people the skills to be able to speak up without the fear of repercussions? Now, this isn't just going downline. More importantly, this needs to go upline. They need to speak about, if they see some behaviour that isn't right, to have that confidence and say, we need to have a conversation around this. An uncomfortable but courageous conversation. Which organisation here has given the power to your teams, to your people to be able to do that? Upline, downline, sideways, we need all colours. Everybody's covered in this scenario. And then, of course, there's those conversations where perhaps performance is not up to scratch. Or worse still, behaviour which has been visible to other people, yet nobody's saying a word. Those behaviours that the people who work underneath them, because it's a manager showing these behaviours, haven't got the permission or the tools or they're equipped to be able to share these messages and have these serious, uncomfortable but courageous conversations. This isn't going away. These conversations are only going to grow as the impact of COVID continues, as the change of what's going on in the economy continues. These issues are going to only compound unless something happens. Something has to change. But I would like to open it up to the floor to get some context around people in the room here. And I'd love to hear from somebody here who has had an uncomfortable but courageous conversation recently. I'm talking in the last 12 months, where you had to have a conversation to impact and to affect a change of an individual or of a group of people. So I'd love a show of hands somewhere. Somebody put up their hand. This is an interactive piece. Come on. We won't name where you're from, so that's okay. You can do it unanimously.
Yeah.
Yes, back here. We've got a roving mic. Nick, look at that athlete running.
So I've actually lost my voice recently, so avoid the huskiness. But I left my last job about 6 months ago after being there for about 12 years, and the conversation I had to have was very much around the way that they treated people, and it just got to the point where I thought, you know what, it's not worth it anymore. People are not getting treated well, and I'm not going to sort of sit around and watch it continue. So I ended up leaving that business, and I'm starting my own business now to make sure that sort of stuff doesn't happen anymore. So.
There we go. Thank you very much for sharing. So it's a major issue. We touched upon retention just before, and there's a great example. How many years was it in that organisation? 12 years of experience.
She said 12.
12. Yeah, I thought she also changed her voice a lot as well. Thank you for sharing. Now, there was a gentleman down here. I just want to see him run. He's agile. Look at that.
It's actually quite the opposite. So I had to sack one of my employee who's been with me for the last 12 months, and he wasn't following the culture. So it was a tough conversation that I had to have, and I had to ask him to leave.
How did that make you feel when you did that?
The conversation itself wasn't, I wasn't ready for it, but being the person that I am, I'd rather go on a softer side. I try to let go. It went to an extent where it was really harming the whole culture of the company, and he was taking advantage of the fact that I was soft. So having this hard conversation was hard for me myself. But I think so as soon as that happened, it was such a relief that he had to leave, and it was just great. I just said to him that I think so I can support you to go and get another job. It's just that I don't think so I can help you out in this company. So I think it's better you better leave. So yeah.
Congratulations on making that decision. Well done. And I just want to tap in on one word there. Relief. The relief once that person had that conversation and they left. Sometimes that would have a greater impact on other team members as well when that occurs. So these conversations, these tough conversations must happen. But can you imagine? Imagine a culture where every single person within your organisation has permission and safety to speak up without any repercussions. There are two key elements that are required for that to happen. One is you must build that safety, that culture of acceptance of people being able to speak up. You must have that set in stone, as I like to say. But also you must arm your people with the tools to be able to have those conversations, because you don't want it to be a confrontation, you want it to be a conversation. Courageous conversations need to be at a calm level. So what I'd like you to do now is talk amongst yourselves briefly, and I want you to come up with 3 rules that you believe you need in place, that every single person in your organisation is comfortable enough to have these uncomfortable conversations without fear of retribution. So have a conversation. I want you to come up with 3 only. What do you think needs to be in place for those to occur?
What is going on?
All right, I'll keep going because I'd encourage you to keep thinking about those. You may be able to have a conversation in the break about those. But they're ideas you can take back to your organisations and start to implement tomorrow. Really important. Loving the interaction,
By
this is
creating
great.
sort of like
but I'm going to
one-on-one meetings
now
with them
show you
where
a
you can share
process
these things.
which you can utilise. Now, some of these conversations happen in a stand-up, in a meeting, or it may be in a one-on-one scenario. But we love to show you processes that you can follow so that you can start these conversations and educate everyone in your organisation on how to do it. First, it may need a slight interruption or a time allocation to say, look, I just need to mention one thing here. So to have that interruption, that space. And then pause. The people that pause have authority and people will stop and listen. Pausing is the most powerful tool that you can learn whenever you are speaking. Introduce the subject, nice and short. Short and sharp. State the issue associated with this. Then there's a pause again. Allow it to sink in. Allow people to think, Or especially if this is an individual scenario, and then provide detail or wait for the response. So a quick example of this could be, I'd love to just have a quick chat. What I saw yesterday afternoon didn't go down well with the rest of the team. I noticed a reaction. What I witnessed there was that obviously that off-colour joke that you told was not acceptable, not only within our organisation, but by the fellow team members as well. Pause again. Then, of course, either wait for a response or detail the outcome that you would like to occur. Really simple process. This can occur in every single uncomfortable conversation that you have within your organisation. These are something which goes beyond the manuals, beyond the processes. It's about starting the conversations, ensuring that people have that safe space and permission to have these uncomfortable conversations and courageous conversations to make sure these people are heard and become valued members of your organisation for future growth. Don't lose 12 years of experience tomorrow. Thank you.